Hey everybody, it's Mandy from Chapel Forge. So I told everybody on Facebook that we're moving and that I was going to be sharing what that journey looks like. Moving a homestead and a business is not like just moving a house. When we moved from the house we lived in prior to this one, I maybe had a couple hundred canned goods. We had a dog. We had no other animal. Maybe we had a rabbit. I can't remember if we had the rabbit at this house or the other house. But nonetheless, we didn't have a bunch of livestock. I didn't have, a couple thousand canned goods. I didn't have near the food storage I have. I didn't have a huge garden. We didn't have all these sheds and outbuildings. We didn't have any of that stuff. So we had literally moved with like one enclosed trailer and it took us like a day or two and it was nothing. Now we have a completely different scenario and we have, multiple shops and, goats and chickens and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a process. Right now, of course, we are in the stage of finishing up the mortgage and getting homeowners insurance and all the fun things that you have to do when this kind of thing comes down the pike. So originally when I mentioned this on Facebook, I said that we were going to rent the house that we're in now. And I was really trying to give that a good college try. But I can't do it. I just don't have it in me to be a landlord. I think that's great for people that can. I think can offer, houses to people that are looking for renters, but it's just not for me. So we have decided that we're actually going to sell this house. So that's a little bit bittersweet. I mean, we both grew up here, and we're only moving like 2 hours away. It's not like we're like going across the country or anything, but nonetheless, we like know everybody here and know where everything is and whatever. So it's both scary and exciting. So the plan is to probably put this house on the market in the spring, like maybe beginning of May or something. Obviously, we've lived here for 6 years. We have multiple kids, multiple animals. So we just have a lot to do. There's crayon on the wall and all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna have some painting to do. We need to finish up our bathroom remodel, fix the front walkway, things like that. No like major renovations to sell, but just the typical stuff you have to do to get your house on the market. So we don't want to be rushed in that process. We have a lot of very methodical things that we need to think through, logistics and whatever. We have some sheds that we're going to need a shed hauler to move or decide if we're leaving it and figure out what that looks like. As far as like all these documents and whatever, this part, and I knew it was going to be exhausting. It's fine. I can't complain. So we have a little bit of mortgage left on this house and ultimately our goal is by the time we sell this house that we only carry a small mortgage on the other house. I think that that's going to be doable. We put a very sizable down payment on this house, so we don't owe a whole lot, but we don't exactly have all the cash for the new house. So it's going to be a little interesting here the next couple months as I just kind of work through finances and, get everything settled. But my goal here is in like 4 to 6 months, by the time everything shakes down, we just carry a small mortgage on the other house. And then that will be the only debt that we have. We don't have car debt or, our tractor's paid for, no medical debt, things like that. So I'm super thankful that that's going to be the case. I'm just hoping that all that lines up. We actually changed lenders today. We had a really good lender and he was great and he answered all my questions and he was really prompt and whatever. But my cousin David, he is with Rocket Mortgage. He's actually in Ohio. We're in Pennsylvania. David Brooks, he's really done me a solid today. We've been on the phone like most of the morning trying to get this stuff done. I'll link his info below. But he got me a really great interest rate. Like I mentioned, we're going to try to like recast in 6 months. So that's something I'm learning about is recasting a mortgage. I only ever thought you could refinance a mortgage. So stay tuned with that. I'll take you through that process. And really my whole goal here in like taking you through this is that every situation is very different. As far as when you're moving and buying a house and whatever, in a perfect world, we could settle on both houses on the same day. But like when you're moving this amount of stuff, it's just not possible. And like, I hate saying stuff because it seems like, well, why don't you just get rid of the junk you're not using? Well, when you have a homestead, there's a lot of things you're using and we repurpose all kinds of things. And like, we have trailers that are going to be chicken coops or turkey coops or structures of some sort. And so, it's going to take time to get that done. So we're really hoping to take the next like month and a half, 2-ish months to get everything moved. And then that last month and a half, we'll work on getting this house, you know, ready to be on the market. The other positive about putting it on the market in like April or May is that it's super pretty here in the spring. So, you know, all the trees are green, the flowers are blooming on the bushes. We have these really pretty trees by the pool that always bloom in the spring. So I think it'll just look a lot nicer. Right now, it's just like super muddy and the trees have no leaves and, you know, it's just not, it's fine. It's just not as pretty as in the spring. So that's the plan as all of that goes. I'm learning all kinds of interesting like insurance things, like you can only have one primary residence. I didn't know this was a thing. So I have to, you know, work on the insurance details. Obviously, we're going to carry farm insurance on the new place, which is what we did here. So homeowners insurance, but it's like a farm policy because of all the things we have going on. So working with my agent on that to get those things ironed out. I can't lie, I am really looking forward to the point when we are beyond this and just kind of settled at the new house. But then we'll be selling this house, and I'm sure that's going to be a whole nother thing because I've never sold a house. This will be the second house we've bought together, but we've never sold a house. So that's going to be a whole new learning experience for me. I really feel like I could probably like write a book on this whole mess by the time we're done. And maybe I'll just do that. Who knows? Everyone's always asked me like 1,000 times, you should write a book, and good grief, I definitely feel like I could by the time we're done with this process. So at this point, besides working on documents and finances and crap like that, we're just basically making lists. I'm going to just like take a notebook, write moving on the front of it, and each thing's going to have a page. You know, right now I just have like some random notes in my daily kind of list of things to do. But I feel like we're at the point now where like I need to get a little bit more organized with my moving plan. So I was talking to my mom this morning. She always has solid advice on these kinds of things. She's like, why don't you take a notebook, and each page is like a task. So like one page is, what are you doing about the mower shed? Because the mower shed is an oversized load, which means we're going to need to get a shed hauler, and we probably need a mule to move it, which is basically this thing that goes underneath, and then, you know, they can finagle it out of here. You know, so one page will be like the mower shed. One page will be, what's the plan with the chickens? Next page, how do we move the goats? You know, next page, how do we move all of the canned goods? Because I have a lot of canned goods in the basement in glass that are going to need to be safely transported 2 hours away. So we're going to be working on that. We've had several friends say, I have this trailer, I have the, you know, whatever, help us cover fuel, and, you know, here's some manpower. So that's an enormous blessing that I'm not concerned that we'll have solid help. Our apprentice Matt is always at the ready. He always is willing to help, and he is just, you know, kind and giving and just always ready to help us do whatever. So we're excited to have his help. So again, it's going to be a little bit bittersweet. You know, we're leaving our parents. Our parents are 15, each set of parents is 15 minutes down the road right now, which multiple times over the last several years has been an enormous blessing. When I had babies and when Zad had his heart attack, and just multiple times, you know, they've been here at the drop of a hat. So we're going to have to adjust to that. That's not going to be a thing, obviously. We'll be back in town often. We're still sharing Bud, our oldest, who's 13. So we have an arrangement worked out with his dad to share him. So I suspect we'll be back in Lancaster 2 or 3 times a month. And that's just how life will be here for the next few years until Bud is, you know, either driving himself or, you know, whatever. He's 13, so he's got a lot on the horizon. He owns his little business, Bud's Outfitters, but I'm sure he's very social. So I'm sure when he turns 14, 15, 16, he's going to want to do some other kind of job outside the house or whatever. So that'll always, of course, be evolving. So at our new house, just to give you some fun on the new house, so it's 13 acres or a little over 13 acres. Some of it is like not mountainy. I don't really want to say mountainy because it's not like this. It's kind of more like a slow grade, but some of it's rocky. So this has been a struggle. If you're unfamiliar with what the market is like in Lancaster County, you cannot touch anything here with any amount of acreage or a large shop or anything in our budget. So our new house is $275,000. And for that, we're getting 13 acres, a 4-bedroom house, you know, 3 full baths, a garage, a large pole barn. It's like almost 30 by 40, already concreted. Right now, Zad's working in a shop that's like I think it's 20 by 30. I can't, somewhere in that ballpark. So a little bit smaller, but it's got lower ceilings. This new one has 10-foot ceilings. Our shop currently has a stone floor, so that's always been sort of prohibitive. You know, Zad couldn't do a lot of large metal fabricating projects because nothing's ever level on a stone floor. So we're excited to, you know, be able to just expand Zad's shop. We'd love to down the road get like a plasma table. He'd really like a TIG welder. So lots of cool things that he's gonna be able to expand with in his shop. I'm gonna have a soap shop, which is amazing because right now I have like a table in the basement and I'm working in a space about this big with no sink, and it's a little bit, we're making it work, but it's not ideal. So in the new house, we're gonna have a soap shop. It's already got a sink in it. It's gonna be a pretty decent sized room. I should be able to have like baker's racks with my soap curing, and that part's just gonna be amazing. We'll have a room for the Glowforge and the Cricut and my office. Bud will have kind of a little corner in the garage where he can work on his RC cars. He loves to paint. He's very artsy, so he can work on that kind of stuff. We're gonna have a large space that is going to be our pantry. So it'll have our freezers, fridges, shelves of canned goods, and, you know, all the stuff that we store food wise and whatever. And then in the garage, we call it the old garage, we're basically gonna have like a butcher shop and a preserving room. So we're so excited about that. We learned how to butcher chickens ourselves a few weeks ago, which pretty well similar process to turkeys. So we would be butchering chickens and turkeys there. And that shop is already concreted as well. So easy to clean. We're gonna put a sink in there, put a stove in there. I'm really excited to get like a 6-burner serious propane stove in there so that I can a serious amount of food. I'm really excited about that. So we have that coming down the pike. You know, the tractor mower 4-wheeler can kind of live in there. We can just pull it out when we're working in there and whatever. Like I said, Zad's shop, he just needs to get some 220 in there and 30 amp, and he's going to be ready to go. We'll need the 30 amp for the camper to plug that in. So the biggest drag, I think, is that, you know, we've been here for 6 years and a lot of systems we've automated at this house, which has been fantastic. And, you know, we've upgraded the electric to what we need to run our business and things like that. And some of that stuff we're going to have to repeat, which is kind of a drag, but, you know, it's the nature of moving. So some other cool things at this house, our bedrooms have doors. So at this house, we have a loft style house. We love it. It's beautiful, like huge vaulted ceilings, and we're going to miss that. We don't have that at this house. But we do have 4 bedrooms and there's doors, and we don't have that right now because everybody's bedrooms are in the loft. So that'll be pretty cool. Our master ensuite bathroom, which I feel like is super fancy, has a double-headed shower and a jacuzzi tub. So that is going to be phenomenal. And that tub could probably fit 4 adults. It's huge. So we have that, which is super cool. The kids will have their own bathroom, and there's a full bathroom on the main floor, which I just think is fantastic. So we'll have that, a really, really big living room, much bigger than we have now, probably 2 times as big as the one we have now, which is great. A really nice sized dining room. We don't have a dining room right now. We sort of just like made one in the in-between space between the kitchen and the living room. And I've mentioned before that like we really kind of live in like a 1-room house, sort of. And I love that. I love the just, you know, we're just always together. And so this style house is very conducive to that. But I think in this stage of life, I think it's going to be really great. Bud will have his own room. The babies sleep with us, but whatever. They'll have a room if they choose to use it. And then there's the other bedroom. So there's plenty of space. It's spring fed off the mountain, which I just think is phenomenal. We'll probably try to put a well in at some point to have a backup water source, but it's already hooked up to propane. I've connected with the propane company up there. They're just fantastic. And we're going to get Zad all set up with propane hooked right into the barn or into his shop. And so I love that that's there. There's geothermal, which is new to us, but we have a friend who's in that business, and he's like, that's what I have at my new house. I think you're going to love it. You're really going to save money on electric. There's a stove there, which we're going to take our stove, but Zad will have a stove in his shop, which is not something he's had prior to now. So he'll have a heated shop. Finally, we're going to need to insulate his shop, but we'll get there. Driveway is going to need paved at some point. So all doable things. There's a root cellar, kind of a root cellar. It's got like Bilco doors, and I am really excited to try to store like pumpkins and squashes and potatoes, onions, garlic, you know, all those kinds of things down there. So we'll see how that goes. If not, we'll store it in the pantry like we do now, in the large pantry, and that'll be fine. But so just a little preview of what's coming. I'm going to take you along on this journey through all the good and the bad and the frustrating and whatever. And we're excited, cautiously excited, also a little scared. I had mentioned we had talked about renting this, and that really terrified me because we were going to have 2 mortgages, and obviously it would have been offset by rent, but that was really causing me some anxiety. So I am kind of relieved that we're not. It'll be nice to have a little bit more financial freedom to do projects if we need to, and have that, you know, once everything shakes down at the end, have that much lower mortgage payment. Another huge plus at this house is the taxes are really low. So our taxes are about $1,400 cheaper at the new house than here, but we gained 10 acres and 3 bedrooms and a pole barn and whatever. So it's just a totally different area. It's a little slower. The road, like when we looked at, we were probably there for an hour and a half when we looked at it, and we may have seen 5 cars going down the road. That could be on the high side. And it was like rush hour time. So excited for that. And where we are right now, it's quiet, but our road's pretty busy. People drive really fast down our road because it's just kind of a back road, and it's very like this, and people just get cruising. And so I am excited to be in a little bit quieter space. I am really excited to get some serious hikes in on our little 13 acres of, you know, kind of mountainy, rocky. It's going to be really excited. I'm planning to throw Zuzu on my back and get some serious rook marches in, as my buddy J-Dog would say. Joe Urick, he owns J-Dog junk hauling here in Lancaster County. He's awesome, and he goes for a rook march every weekend, which I just think rocks. So I'm really excited to do that. And then as far as the lay of the land, basically we'd have like 4-ish acres that's like kind of open, flat, grassy, whatever. And then the other maybe 9-ish is kind of getting into more of that traily, woodsy, whatever. So we'll see how that evolves. We may take some trees down. There are a lot of trails already there, which is cool. We'll see how that goes. Obviously, our goats are going to love it. We'd love to maybe raise hogs. We got to kind of figure that out. Obviously, we're going to have the garden, have the chickens, have the turkeys. Taking my hoop house, if you've seen that video, we're going to take my hoop house and use that as a greenhouse, which is going to be really cool. So that's what's coming down the pike. I hope you'll stick along with us. If, you know, you ask me a question along the way and I don't answer you for a little bit, it's probably because I'm swamped doing something else. But I will definitely be here to field your questions and, you know, be nice to us as we're learning, and don't judge us too hard because we're trying our best. So we'll see you guys next time.